And how important, I mean, when you have a privacy issue that that you see as a problem, but there isn't any public awareness of it, how does that play in your ability to raise the concerns you have with the appropriate audiences, whether it's within the DHS or at Congress?
Well, I think that's a fair question. So my responsibility as Homeland Security Privacy Officer is to the Secretary of Homeland Security. And there were times, 5 times, I brought issues up to the secretarial level. And 5 times I won. And then I lost in the interagency once. But you know, you had to pick and choose and understand when to bring it up. But you also needed to have the support of your supervisor, in this case, the secretary.
But you felt you had that support?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely did. And I honestly think that one of the reasons why I had that support was because DHS has been criticized for privacy so many times that it actually made people more aware of it. And that people had bumps and bruises in 2003 and in 2005, and you know, that there was a recognition of the value, even though that wasn't necessarily the case in other departments. I think that has changed in the past year, and that's been very interesting to watch. But I think that you have to have the support of your supervisor. You have to have visibility across the agency, and you have to have, candidly, the infrastructure to be able to do something with it. I would posit that no other privacy officer, whether we're talking intelligence community or in the cabinet level privacy officers, has the level of support that DHS does. We've got a separate line item. We have our own staff. I'm a direct report, and I have this investigatory authority I mentioned to you. Nobody else does. Section 802 of the 9/11 Commission recommendations says that there needs to be privacy officers in the cabinet level agencies. They need to have certain authority. They need to be able to deal with redress, and they need to report to the head of the agency. I'm not sure that any other privacy officer, with the exception of possibly DOJ, meets those standards. And that's a real gap, I think.
Did you ever feel pressure, either within the agency or from other intelligence community components, to water down your criticism or to ignore certain problems?
So I think the question is, how would the criticisms be manifested, right? So you asked, you know, did you feel like you could bring issues to people's attention? And I did. As I said, I brought them up to the secretary. I got asked a couple of times did I really need to be so strident? And if I said yes, then people backed off. And so that's a good thing. But it's also not like I could get on a bully pulpit and say, hey, America,
Right.
Here's what's going on. And so you had to figure out different ways to do it. I didn't go to Congress all that often for the reasons we talked about. Just there was, I was there a lot anyways. Right. And at times they were helpful or productive. At the time, P-Club was not stood up yet. And I think P-Club is going to be a good safety valve for a lot of privacy officers, Homeland Security and others, that if there's an issue that they are not getting executive level attention within a department, or it's an interagency one that they can't deal with, P-Club should be able to help.
And